Hi, this video will explain about 7.2 Role of chemoreceptors in controlling breathing. The learning outcomes is for students to be able to state the types of chemoreceptor, then explain the role of chemoreceptors in controlling the rate of normal breathing. Breathing is repetitive and involuntary. Even though we can stop for a while, stop breathing for a while, but our body will prevent us to stop more than our body can hold the breath lah, because the breathing is important to get the amount to get the gases for cellular respiration, which is oxygen. So involuntarily we cannot prolong the stop of our inhalation or exhalation. So inhalation is inspiration, meaning that we take in air into our lungs, while exhalation is the process when we expel the gases out of the lung. Our breathing are controlled by Breathing Control Center, which is called Respiratory Center. It is located in the pons and medulla oblongata of our brain. The main stimulus that causes our breathing to fasten, quicken or slower is the concentration of carbon dioxide. So when carbon dioxide is in our system, in the bloodstream, carbon dioxide, we know that we have learned that carbon dioxide will dissolve in water and produce carbonic acid, and then dissociate into H plus and bicarbonate ion. So the amount of the more carbon dioxide dissolved in water, the more proton will be available in our blood. So the increase of hydrogen ion concentration will decrease the pH of our body, of our blood. So medulla oblongata will use these changes of pH to indicate the content of our carbon dioxide concentration in blood. Okay. So the first stimulus is the chemoreceptors. Okay, chemoreceptors, the receptor that will detect changes in the hydrogen ion concentration and thus the carbon dioxide concentration. So the pons is here, medulla oblongata is in here. Okay, and these two are breathing control center. Breathing is autonomic, which is involuntary. So the medulla sets the rhythm and pons moderates it. The inspiratory center and the expiratory center will tell when we have to exhale and inhale. Inspiratory is for inhalation, expiratory is for exhalation. In pons, it helps control the transition from inhalation and exhalation, and it can stimulate or inhibit the respiratory center in the medulla. Okay, first, the receptor that is important is the stretch receptor that can be found in the wall of alveoli and bronchioles. So whenever we inhale, we take in gas, we take in air into our lung will expand. Lung expand. So the expanse of our lung will activate the stretch receptor. It's like a balloon. When we blow into the balloon will expand and it stretch out kan. So bila dia mengembang sebab ada udara tu, stretch receptor yang ada di sekeliling bronchioles dengan alveoli tu dia akan detect itu adalah berlaku pengembangan. So when the stretch receptor detect the expansion, it will be activated, then it will send impulse to the inspiratory and expiratory center. Stretch receptor will send impulse to expiratory center and inspiratory center. So the impulse to expiratory center will stimulate expiratory for exhalation and inhibit and inspiratory. So we will stop breathing. For example, if we breathe in, inhale, how long can we inhale? How long? How many seconds? We cannot inhale for 1 hour straight. Cannot. So what causes us to stop at a particular moment? We inhale and then we have to stop. Whatever we want to do, whatever, even though our mind tell us to keep on inhaling, but our body already tells us to stop inhaling. So that is the impulse sent to inspiratory center, so we stop inhalation. Then at the same time, another impulse is sent to expiratory center to be stimulated. So expiratory center will know that is the time when they have to exhale or breathe out the gas. While chemoreceptor, before the previous one is the stretch receptor, detect the expansion of the alveoli and the bronchioles. But this time, this receptor is chemoreceptor, a receptor that detect changes of hydrogen ion concentration. Okay. Again, why hydrogen ion increase? Because the concentration of carbon dioxide also increase. There are two types of chemoreceptor. So the word chemo, it detects chemical substance, which is the proton. Two types of chemoreceptors, which is central chemoreceptor in the medulla oblongata. So central, it must be related to our brain. In medulla oblongata, the chemoreceptor is sensitive to changes in hydrogen ion in cerebrospinal fluid, not in blood, because blood does not the blood should not be mixed with the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, then we have the peripheral chemoreceptors, which includes carotid bodies. Carotid bodies is located at carotid arteries. Ni arteri yang duduk dekat bawah kita punya thyroid ni, dekat leher ni. Okay, nanti saya tunjukkan gambar. Carotid arteries are major artery that supplies blood to the head. Okay, major artery, so it brings almost all of the blood to the head. It must carry blood to the head, so it is a position that ensure that changes in pH blood will be detected. Then aortic body in the wall of aorta, which is close to heart. Heart also is an organ that where blood must flow through. Jadi tempat laluan-laluan yang wajib darah lalu ni, the peripheral chemoreceptors, carotid bodies and aortic bodies. It is sensitive to changes in carbon dioxide concentration and hydrogen ion in blood. So kalau central chemoreceptor dekat medulla oblongata tadi, dia detect changes of hydrogen ion in cerebrospinal fluid. Tapi bagi peripheral receptor, changes in hydrogen ion in blood. So this is the medulla. This is the medulla. Here is the carotid arteries, carotid body on the arteries. This is the aorta, so this is the aortic body. The control of breathing, when blood carbon dioxide level falls pH will rise. So normal blood pH is at about 7.4. If blood pH falls due to rising levels of carbon dioxide in tissue, for example, when we do exercise, it will be detected. The pH changes will be detected by peripheral chemoreceptors, and then at the same time cerebrospinal fluid will also receive hydrogen ions, so the pH of the cerebrospinal fluid will also change. This will be detected by medulla oblongata. So these changes will stimulate or give signals to the intercostal muscle and diaphragm to increase rate and depth of ventilation. Okay, dia punya yang berubah adalah rate kadar dan juga kedalaman pernafasan kita. The control of breathing. First, detected by chemoreceptor. Detected by chemoreceptor. Then we inspire. Inspiration center. Okay, kita tengok penerangan dia. When inspiration center stimulated, it will send impulse through phrenic and thoracic nerve. So diaphragm and external intercostal muscle will contract. Then we will inspire. Inspiration will cause stretch receptor to be stimulated. The stimulation of stretch receptor then will send impulse through vagus nerve. The impulse to inspiratory center is to inhibit, while impulse to expiratory center will stimulate. Okay, then expiratory center, when it is stimulated, it will send impulse to diaphragm and external intercostal muscle to relax. So we will be able to expire or exhale. During expiration, stretch receptor is not stimulated. The high carbon dioxide concentration increase hydrogen ions in blood during vigorous exercise. So this will stimulate peripheral chemoreceptors to transmit impulse to inspiratory center. As carbon dioxide concentration increase, some carbon dioxide will diffuse into cerebrospinal fluid that surrounds the brain, which will cause increase in hydrogen ion concentration in the cerebrospinal fluid. So central chemoreceptor also will detect these changes and stimulated to transmit impulse to inspiratory center. So basically, when carbon dioxide increase, our body will tell the intercostal muscle and the diaphragm, the lung, to breathe in more oxygen, so that after that we can breathe out carbon dioxide. The inspiratory center generate an output impulse to increase the depth and rate of breathing. So impulse will be sent to diaphragm through phrenic nerve and external intercostal muscle to thoracic nerve. This is the phrenic nerve. The intercostal muscle, vagus and phrenic nerves. And this is the phrenic. Phrenic is for diaphragm. Phrenic. The impulse will cause contraction of diaphragm and external intercostal muscle. So diaphragm bila dia contract, dia akan ke bawah. Jadi kita akan tarik nafas. So increase of volume in the lung. The thoracic cavity expand, increase volume and size of thoracic cavity. Increase the pressure in thoracic the pressure in thoracic cavity will become lower as the lower than the atmospheric pressure. Sebab tu udara boleh masuk ke dalam paru-paru. So this is why when inspiration occur. Then during inhalation, diaphragm contracts, move down, so that it will increase the volume of the thorax. Then stretch receptor, when we inhale, stretch receptor in the wall of alveoli and bronchioles will be stimulated to send impulse via vagus nerve to stimulate inspiratory center, to stimulate expiratory center and inhibit inspiratory center. So no impulse from inspiratory center. Both diaphragm and external intercostal muscle will relax. Relax of diaphragm ni dia akan deflate, dia akan naik ke atas balik. So thoracic cavity decrease or deflating, the volume and size of the thoracic cavity decrease, which causes pressure in thoracic cavity higher than the atmospheric pressure. So air or gases can be exhaled out of the lung. Stretch receptor is no longer stimulated, so expiratory center becomes inactive. Okay, bila kita hembuskan nafas, stretch receptor dah tak stimulated, tidak diaktifkan. Jadi bila tidak diaktifkan, expiratory center akan jadi tak aktif. Okay. Jadi stretch receptor, the cycle is repeated. Jadi kita akan tarik nafas balik semula sebab expiratory center dah jadi inactive. Okay, that's all. Thank you.